Swish Pod. Cool. Should we kick it off?
Great.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Hey everyone, and welcome to Swish Pod, where we talk all things ecom, CX, SaaS, Shopify, and more. Super excited to be here, kicking off today on our first episode with one of my favourite merchant stories of 2025, as well as being Australia's most inclusive art show. Incognito Art Show is also an incredible ecom success story with a really unique business model and a great go-to-market strategy that I'm keen to dig into. Before we get into it, quick round of intros. We've got some great guests joining me today as we delve into Incognito and break down how brands can roll out their playbook as we head into peak season and beyond. So if we go around quick intros, tell the audience who you are, what you do, and we'll kick off from there.
Yeah, I'm Dave Liston. I'm the co-founder of Incognito Art Show.
Nice one.
Michael Smedley, business development at Athos Commerce.
And I am Karlie Vanderpluym. I'm a solution consultant at Convert Digital.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Dave, can you take us back to the beginning? Incognito Art Show, what is it? Where did it come from? And what's brought us here today to talk about it?
Yeah, so Incognito Art Show now is as you said, the biggest and most inclusive art show in Australia. But when it kicked off, it was more or less just a little project that I decided to kick off with some mates. The basic structure or the model of Incognito is that anyone can enter. So it's an art show. Anyone can enter to take part as an artist. So that's amateur, emerging or professional artists can register on our website. And then once they've registered, we would post them what we call an artist pack. Inside the artist pack is 3 A5 cards, so a bit bigger than a regular postcard. The artist produces art on 1, 2 or 3 of those cards. And then in our pack, there's a return envelope. So then they send the artwork back to us. What we do then is when we get the artwork, we exhibit it online, but we exhibit it all anonymously. So every artwork is exhibited on our website and they're all numbered 1 to however many we have. That's the first part of the campaign. So that's what we call artist acquisition. The next part of the campaign is what we call buyer acquisition. So once we have all that artwork on the website, we encourage buyers to come and check out the website, identify the artworks that they love in anticipation of a sale day. Now, the sale event is when we started was over a single weekend. So it was a Saturday and Sunday. And the rules of the sale day were pretty simple, is that it was first in, best dressed. So we opened the doors at 8 a.m. First person at the door gets a pick of the bunch. First in, best dressed. You're limited to buying 3 artworks each to give everyone a chance at buying art. And the third one is every artwork is $100. Now, the twist in the whole thing is you don't know who you're buying until you've bought it. So some of Australia's best artists take part, as well as kids. So once you come to the door, if you're there at 8 a.m, you get the pick of the bunch. You can get a Laura Jones or a Jason Food, a Jasper Knight artwork, Vincent Amatura, Ben Quilty, some of Australia's most loved artists. You can get their artwork for $100, or you can get a little kids from the local public school. The beauty of the whole thing is that by keeping it a flat price and keeping it anonymous, it really democratizes the art buying experience, and people really buy what they love rather than the big name or whatever. So it kind of gets people into the art world and buying then.
Amazing, mate. Such a unique concept. I mean, the bit you're speaking around and sort of that hype building, people queuing up to kind of get in to get their first grab at it. Kind of reminds me of in the fashion space when you have like a warehouse or an archive sale, like the frenzy that people get whipped into it, the chance of securing that one-off piece that really matters to them. Unreal. So how long has Incognito been going for now?
Yeah, so it's been going, this year was our 5th year, and you're right, like it is very much like that warehouse sale model. Like we even had our first sale at Verona where all the big brands have their warehouse sale. We kind of thought when we started this, we thought it would be a good little project. If we get 100 artworks, we'd be happy. Our friends come along for an opening night, we have a bit of fun. We got 1,800 in the first year, and the hype around the whole thing really, really blew up more than we'd ever expected. People were lining up from, I think it was midnight the night before. So 8 hours, they were lining up from midnight in anticipation for the 8 a.m. sale day. And the line in anticipation for that was probably 2 or 3 kilometers long. Like it went a long way down South Dowling Street. So yeah, like the hype was really there. And from that 1,800, we've grown now to 24,000 artworks this year.
Unreal. Pretty strong signal that you're onto something good early on. So it was an in-person event first 2 or 3 years, and then it grew to a scale where it couldn't be housed in a physical space and you had to kind of think around digital at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're like this e-commerce podcast, we're talking e-commerce. We really didn't have any ambition for it to ever, well, there may have been ambition, but we didn't even think about it, that it would become an e-commerce business. The first year we we displayed everything on Shopify. Now, we say now that we were being clever because, it was during COVID times, and if we needed to, we would have flipped it on to being able to sell online. But it was really because my brother and I had a print business before, and we just knew how to put artwork onto one website, and that was Shopify. So we're really lucky that we did that. Because after the first year and first year we had 1,800 artworks, the next year we had 3,500. You can sell about 3,000 in person with, our model, sort of like allowing the first person in and sort of managing that line. You can sell about 3,000 over the course of the weekend. So in the third year, we realized that we're going to have even more artworks. We got 5,300, and that we would need a serious online strategy after that sale weekend.
Nice one. Growing pains. They're a great thing to have. And so at this point, you're kind of trying to work out your way forward in terms of how you transition this from a purely in-person event into then an in-person and online event. Obviously, you need an expert then that could come in and kind of help you on the web front. So I think Convert Digital were an amazing partner for you guys, and really kind of, I think, from a strategic and a build perspective, then came and took your concept and their existing kind of understanding of go-to-market strategies and obviously the more technical components of how you could pull this thing together and build a great website. You want to speak to that?
Yeah, so like the way we really figured that out was the third year. I was essentially running the e-commerce, and it was poor. So we had over 5,000 artworks, 2,000 of which we sold online after the show. And it was, I was a rank amateur, and it was really difficult. Spent way too much time doing that. And then so our fourth year, we were lucky enough to get Convert Digital on board. Ed had a relationship with those guys. They were really keen to support us, and it changed everything really. So we got to 18,000 in our fourth year. It was a huge jump in terms of volume of artworks. And so we were very fortunate to have actual professional help then.
Yeah.
And because you just could not do that without that level of support.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, 18,000 unique SKUs presents some challenges, some different thinking.
Yeah, a little bit different to the usual
standard fashion catalogue.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, it's not uncommon for people to have large catalogues of products, but it is uncommon to have large catalogues of individual products. And I mean, the team is small, trying to figure out how to get everything online, make the most of the time and the resources that you've got. You really have to kind of be smart about how things are put together, but also so it's usable, because that's a lot. Like Ed said, 3,000 artworks is the max that they can do on a weekend of people wandering around. Someone's not going to sit on the internet and scroll through 50 pages of things. It needs to be structured. So that's why we bring in partners like Athos to be able to have search be really kind of forefront, because it's something that's really important.
Yeah, cool. I mean, from a catalog structure perspective, and Mike, I'd love to hear your take on kind of how you approach this, but it's unique in obviously its breadth, but also subject matter. I mean, what are the kind of product attributes that matter to a shopper or an artist, an art buyer at this point? Yeah,
so the most obvious ones are obviously subject matter. So big categories are food and drink, portraiture, abstract, text-based. So the kind of what people are depicting, that's subject matter. Obviously, that's how we sort of split our collections out. But then medium as well. So whether it's an oil painting, watercolor, digital, photograph, whatever, that's the next big one. And then color, obviously, so the most dominant color in there, because some people will be looking to make a collection of blue artworks. They want to buy 9 artworks that are blue. They don't really mind whether it's portraiture or whatever. They just have a sort of a vision of how that'll look together, and they buy that. Or they just love magpies and they want 10 magpies. Or they only want watercolors because that suits the palette of the kitchen or the living room they're doing. So that's how they sort of work that in.
Nice one. How do you approach such a unique kind of catalogue in terms of search, discovery, recommendations?
Yeah, certainly. And any catalogue above that sort of 5,000 products starts to become really quite convoluted to manage. But we've sort of touched on this. We've touched on this in terms of being able to categorise that down to mediums, so acrylics and different types of products and animals as well. And then that's where some of our sort of out-of-the-box functionality, Karlie touched on a small team, being able to manage that with automated autocomplete, and then at a search and category level, filters, things like that were massive for us, particularly in year 2 last year. So I know our customer success team did a lot of work in terms of being able to manage that, and essentially enable that search function, because when you've got so many products, being able to actually filter down on those search results is massive. If you're returning thousands of products, very difficult for someone to scroll through all of those, jumping through page 1 to 20 and so on.
Yep, nice one. But I mean, I asked you this the other day, but I was like, how have you given categorization and accurate attributes to 20,000 unique items? But I think it was a pretty intelligent initiative that you kind of had artists self-nominating these, and there was some good thinking behind it too.
Yeah, so like in that third year when it was just us doing it, there was no search functionality, there was no categorization. It was quite literally randomly displayed artworks that people would have to scroll through page to page to page. As we sort of grew, what we would do is the fourth year, we would categorize them ourselves. So we would have staff in there going, this is a oil painting portrait, and they would enter that data manually. Obviously that got really, really difficult. So what we've developed to is when an artist returns their artwork, we encourage them to do what we call like artwork registration. So every artist, they might have 1, 2 or 3 artworks. For them to go on and enter that data themselves is quite simple, not a big deal. That's just a Google survey that feeds into a Google sheet, which we then upload into the website. So you get really accurate information. The artist fills it out themselves. So that's the way we do that, yeah.
Love it. I mean, if you're an ecom manager who's frustrated with the lack of data, get the creator to self-nominate some of these attributes, and you'll inherit that pre-enriched, which will make your life a lot easier.
And that's not you'd rather the artist do that you'd rather them say what the creator describe their own work rather than you getting it and sort of just describing it yourself.
Oh mate, yeah. I would ask my designers when I was merchant side to always do the categorization, because I definitely wasn't cut out for doing some of the more nuanced side of that thing. Epic. So you got this thing to a point where it was digitized, it was ready to kind of launch online, a new model. You still kept the in-person component. Can you maybe just talk through like the end-to-end customer journey and flow, the experience someone would have as an art buyer in Incognito, say this year?
Yeah. So this year. So yeah. So we kind of have to stick to our rules. Like when you claim that you're most inclusive art show, you got to kind of like that people will hold you to that. And the rules of like first in, best dressed are really, really important. So this year people waited in line for 27 hours all up. So that sort of process of like being able to address that individual and like fulfill what they want is really, really high. So the way we sort of originally we would encourage people to write quite literally on a bit of paper the numbers of the artworks that they want. They'd get to the front of the line. We would identify what was sold and what was not. And then once we identify what was not sold, their top 3 artworks, we would take them around, pluck those artworks off the wall, sell them to them, and then move on. Obviously, that's quite laborious. By the time you're up to the 50th or the 100th person, their top 100 artworks are quite similar to the people, in front of them. So to say no is a really bad experience. So this year, what we've sort of developed towards is our wishlist functionality, which we did with Swish. Whereas in the anticipation to the sale day, people would create a wish list. It sounds quite obvious, but like it's not. Like they would create their top 100 or top 5 or top 10 artworks in anticipation for the sale day. And then when we had our in-person sale event, by the time they got to the front of the line, that wish list was updating in real time, whether the artworks had sold or not. So if you had a list of 50 artworks in your wish list and you got to the front of the line, 40 of them had gone, 10 are there straight up, we would identify, yep, you've got 10, you've got the pick of the bunch, which 3 do you want? Yep, they want these 3. We'd mark that as a pending sale in Shopify POS, zip around, get the artwork, and check out. It was a far greater experience, and for the buyers, it was way better because they don't get to the front of the line and get told their top 40 aren't available. They just accept what's going down as they go. It's kind of exciting for them to watch it in a funny way, and then they've got the 10 that are available, and that process is a lot easier. Unreal.
I mean, some of those, I guess, operational pains that you were speaking of, even from a customer-facing perspective, are super common in the e-com space, and kind of classic hearing around the paper slips. I mean, from a back ops perspective, brands that grow quickly are often on paper slips in the warehouse trying to deal with this sort of pick-pack situation that's completely overwhelming, and then they move to a more systemized approach. It's just interesting that you've had to take that initiative on the front end to then get customers really organized so that they can effectively shop. And then obviously you get the benefit of then having that data and insight into the products they're interested in. Unique in your case in that there's one of one, but I definitely think there's some great examples in your approach there that other brands can take to their, I guess, their go-to-market strategy heading into, you know, new product launches, which is effectively what you're doing, but also heading into sale. It's one of the classic playbooks that we kind of recommend brands roll out with the wish list, rather than sort of parking the feature sort of passively online, expecting customers to kind of leverage it really meaningfully, actually incentivizing its use, explaining the benefits of using it, and then really taking it to market. So one of the great things I've seen a few of our merchants roll out with Swish is pre-launch, so building wish listing in the same manner you do ahead of a go live, products in an unshoppable state, and then the brand is getting these amazing pre-launch insights into demand. They're actually really aware of best sellers before they even have started meaningfully selling them. But the same can be used and really effectively for sales and promotions. So as we head into peak, and I'm sure you've got plenty of merchants kind of with their thinking hats on at the moment, if they're a bit late to the party, but they've probably still got a couple of weeks to sort this out. But a great initiative, and we ran this at Mr. Zimmy when I ran ecom there, would be building wish lists before a big sale or promotion. You fill up this huge bucket of data, you get great insights into where the demand sits, and you can actually use that really intelligently for pricing, merchandising decisions. And then once you go live, you can land users back on this really curated selection of the items of interest, exactly what you were experiencing, I guess, at the POS queue. People are landing on the products they've already kind of indicated they're into. They're seeing availability. They're able to shop them really immediately in a very frictionless manner. But then through the long tail of the event, you get the ability to send them low in stock and price shop alerts for those same items, and really drive a kind of long tail of conversion through the course of your event. So I think there's some great insights in the way you guys are approaching things that a more traditional e-com business could definitely take some leaves out of your book.
Yeah, for sure. On that, like the sort of two big ways you'd see that is like, one is like you don't know what you don't know. So when I look at the 100 most wish listed artworks, a lot of people will probably assume, oh yeah, they're going to be the 100, professional best artists in Australia. It's not the case. So like they're often the number one artwork that's the most wish listed will be an amateur artist that no one's ever heard of, but they've just created something that a huge amount of people like. And I'd imagine in a retail situation, if you're selling t-shirts or whatever, and you think the green t-shirt's going to sell the best, you didn't realize that the grey singlet's actually the most wish listed item, and that's obviously just more data that you can use.
Sure.
I was going to say you almost need to use it in reverse for you though. So like traditional retail, if I know that I'm going to sell 100 grey singlets, I'm going to order more grey singlets, right? For you, you don't have the ability to get more of the same product. You almost need to de-merch the items that are most popular to be like, okay, well, we know lots of people like this. We don't want to disappoint 5,000 people trying to get this one artwork. Let's delist it and promote other stuff to try and get other artworks in front of people. It's like a very unique way to have to approach something, because we're so stuck in being like, if something is popular, we show it first because we know we're going to be able to move the unit. You already know you're going to move the unit. So
I've never thought of that. That's why you should get Convert Digital on board.
There you go. Golden insights.
We'll just put it on the roadmap.
Yeah, I guess looking to the future, obviously growing in scale. I think we had some pretty incredible numbers. Probably have passed now 500,000 saved artworks across the course of the last 12 months of the event, which is an amazing data set that does give you that insight into taste, which is often something that's kind of hard to determine. You're looking at your own single brand, you've got your own particular style, and what sells well in there, but you have this insight into artistic preference, I think, which is really unique as well. What are the plans for Incognito moving forward?
Yeah, so like one thing that we definitely count on is we'll have more artworks. There will be a day that we sort of cap out in terms of the number of artworks we got, but I don't know when that'll be. There's just so many people that create art that you don't know about that want to take part. So we're going to have more and more artwork. We've got to just get better at like optimizing the way we sell that. Essentially, we spend a lot of money on ads, which is great. It's a great way to sell a lot of product. So next year we're sort of planning on having more than one in-person show. So up until this year, we've had one in Sydney and then we go straight online. So we're working out ways to sort of like spread that out a bit. We've got people from all over Australia and the world, obviously, that take part and buy. So we've got to help them, give them a chance at coming to the show. So we're planning on another geography next year to do a Sydney show and then another one. And we're thinking about doing sort of an online only third sort of drop to give everyone that can't get to those two cities a chance to be first in line at some point, and that's a good way to sort of spread interest and spread the web traffic. That's what we're thinking about now. So, and obviously every year the functionality and the searchability of our website just needs to get better and better. So just improving as we go.
Nice one. Excited. Can't wait to see where you take it. I love this model of building hype, capturing demand, and then go live. I mean, I'm sure you see similar playbooks rolled out in the D2C space, but anything that kind of jumps out at you in terms of opportunity for Incognito and also, I guess, from your more traditional merchant profile?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this earlier in terms of having, when you're starting to expand out, still trying to drive that hype, you want people to see the artwork so they can add them to a wish list, they can curate their own collection of artwork, starting to look at things like locked collections, locked products, the flow from a locked product to be like, are you going to register interest? I think there's a whole ability to leverage wish list as well, to be able to be like, this person has wish listed lots of artwork. They've bought lots of artwork. Where do they sit in terms of the hierarchy of, are we going to give all of these curators access to things sooner rather than later? I think we really need to be a little bit more smart about how we're showing the artwork on the front end. I think just because the more artwork there is, the harder it is for people to find stuff that they're really interested in. So I think really leveraging the search and merch capabilities to make sure that we're getting things in front of people so that we don't just continually show the same stuff. So I think the search stuff is going to be really key as we continue to grow. And then, locked collections, locked products, enhancing wish lists.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, you don't get the benefit of knowing things that people commonly buy together because it's one of one. So that classic input for recommendations is missing. So it's really largely based on browsing behavior, which is unique, again, in your kind of model. On the Athos front?
Yeah, sure. I think definitely in regards to that promotional content, we're talking about locked products and then potentially segmenting by those different sale locations, online, Sydney, roadshows. Certainly Athos can do a lot to complement that. Things like automated badging based on just pulling those meta fields and tags for those different location drops, and then promotional content like banners I think would be really interesting, just really easily being able to push those out for those specific sales, and as well as those drops, and location based as well for the locked collections. And then Karlie already talked about it, continue to expand that search functionality. I think as the product count grows, that's going to be increasingly important. Love to see some of the new functionality we're rolling out in terms of that intuitive search and natural language processing. So starting to expand the parameters, because we've gone from sort of a basic search to now looking at things like searching by paint type and searching by the subject matter as well, but then continue to expand that to sort of natural language. So if someone can look for dog watercolor with the sunset in the background, those sorts of long tail search terms, that will be really exciting. That's the functionality we've been rolling out. But yeah, certainly a lot there. And we see that on our retail customers as well, different business model, but really looking at rolling out additional functionality in terms of the search, and with ChatGPT and stuff. I've now said it, first person, with people starting to search more
we went
conversational.
AI free for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Blowing
That's
it.
my only mention.
I've just been itching to say something about AI.
Yeah, I've broken the ice. But yeah, we're seeing people on our clients search more conversationally, and that's where we're doing a lot of development. And
yeah, that's cool.
That may bleed out into searches on Incognito as well.
Nice. I mean, you've got this artist nominated categorization, but there's probably an opportunity there, and some I guess image recognition to maybe come into play as well. Although the abstract element of the subject matter maybe isn't the perfect AI candidate versus dress, which is a bit more clean cut.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be a good challenge for the AI, you know. But then there's, you know, one magpie picture is very different from the next. You know, if it figures out that this one's a bit more abstract and this person likes portraiture that's a bit more abstract, you're better to recommend them together. Like I'm really excited to see what this kind of stuff can do, because like our users need the help. It's too much to go through. So better searchability can only make it better.
Yep. No doubt. I guess from a Swish perspective, we ran a single list this year for simplicity. It suited the customer profile nicely, but as the catalog grows, I mean, you had some almost unhinged wish listing behavior. There's someone saved 1,200 artworks individually, and the average was really high as well. So the ability to break those down into some more bite-sized lists, either we're going to predefine those lists based on subject matter or medium, or we'll let the user self-create. But yeah, the ability to curate lists themselves, I think will make life much easier. And that rather than having like a ranking system or trying to have your top 10, you can put them on a isolated list. So for the in-person event, it's going to make things really quick and easy for them to kind of move through like their ABCs, like, you know, product preferences there. And I think one of the other challenges you spoke to off air was distribution. So obviously, you know, media buying is super expensive now more than ever. So discoverability, getting awareness of Incognito is really important. You've got super high profile artists, trying to leverage them, I think, in an interesting way, potentially with them creating their own curated lists and distributing them through their channels could be an opportunity for you as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like when we've done a little bit of that. So with using Swish, we do little collections like staff picks. So I can go and identify all my staff, find their wish list, collate those wish list products into a single collection and distribute that as our, you know, staff's favorite artwork. It's a lot easier than going, can everyone send me their favorite artworks and you get 4, right? Rather than, and then same with sort of like guest curators. So whether that's a actual art curator or a gallerist or an artist, I can easily identify their wish list and use that as a collection. It's been like a really good functionality in terms of identifying select artworks and letting, if you love, you know, Toby Marr, the gallerist, you can go into his wish list, find his favorite artwork and then buy from that. It's a good way of helping our buyers.
Yeah, cool. I definitely think, you know, people want to be influenced typically, and some guidance on taste is always kind of appreciated. I mean, it's half of the game in fashion. I'm sure in the art world, it's, you know, people do follow trend. So yeah, having featured lists I think could be really compelling for you guys as well. Mate, thank you so much. It's such a unique business model, such a great go-to-market strategy. I think there's heaps of takeaways that e-com brands can kind of pull from your approach and definitely apply as we kind of head into peak and beyond. Any final thoughts?
No, I'm just excited. I mean, yeah, the collections we embedded this year, I think, help make things easier to get through. Like, there's heaps of things we can do with Wishlist and with search, and just excited to see where we can go.
Cool. I think that's a wrap. Thanks so much.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, dudes.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Nice.